They say love can build a home, but sometimes love is the very reason that home burns to ashes. This is my story, the story of how I gave everything I had to a man and still watched him marry another. My name is Amara, and for almost 10 years, I lived like a wife to a man who never made me one. When I met Tunde, I was young, full of dreams, and love was the only language I spoke. He had nothing, just a bag of clothes, a sweet smile, and promises that sounded like forever. He told me we will build together, and I believed him. So I opened my doors and I opened my heart. Before long, we were living together. We struggled, we laughed, we cried, and I stood by him through everything. When he could not pay rent, I borrowed money. When he lost his job, I fed us both. When he said, "One day I will make it up to you," I believed every word. But love can be blind, and mine, it was completely blind. I sacrificed more than I should have. My body, my time, my peace. There were nights I cried myself to sleep, praying that all his pain would one day turn into joy. When I gave birth to our first child, I thought now he will marry me. But he said, "Baby, not yet. Let's make more money first." When the second child came, he said, "Soon. I promise." I held on to soon like it was an oxygen. But soon never came. Instead, I watched as he changed. His calls grew shorter. His smile faded. He began to dress better, talk less, and stay out late. One evening, I found a receipt for a gold ring I never received. At first, I thought it was for me, but deep down, my heart already knew. 2 weeks later, I saw it on social media. Tunde and another woman. Their engagement pictures flooded the internet. Her hand proudly showing off the same ring I had found. The man I cooked for, the man I built with, the man I gave my youth, my body, my loyalty was marrying someone else. I broke down that night. My children slept beside me while I drowned in silence. I asked myself over and over, where did I go wrong? But deep down, I knew I stayed too long in a place where love stopped living. I believed promises that were only meant to keep me still. I wasn't a fool. I was just a woman who loved deeply and hoped too strongly. Now I'm learning to heal. I've learned that love should never cost you your peace. That when someone truly wants you, they don't just stay, they choose you. He paid another woman's bride price, but one day he will remember the woman who stood beside him when he had nothing, and that memory will be his regret. Say time heals all wounds, but nobody tells you that even healed wounds leave scars. Months passed after he married her. I learned to live with the pain, not because it stopped hurting, but because I got tired of crying. I started focusing on my children. They were the only reason I woke up each morning, the only piece of him I didn't regret. Some nights I would scroll through my phone and see their wedding pictures. She looked beautiful, glowing in the love I once knew. But I never cursed her because she did not steal him. He gave himself away. At first, people mocked me. Neighbors whispered. Friends who once envied my relationship now pitied me. But slowly their voice faded and mine began to rise again. I started a small business. I began saving, learning, rebuilding. Each coin I earned felt like freedom. Each smile from my children reminded me that I was still enough. And then one evening, almost 2 years later, he came back. He looked older, not in years, but in spirit. The glow I saw in those wedding pictures was gone. His voice trembled as he said my name, Amara. I stood there, quiet, no anger, no tears, just silence. He said, I made a mistake. I thought I found peace in her, but I found emptiness. You were my home and I left. For a second, my heart softened. For a moment, I saw the man I once loved, the man I built dreams with. But then I remembered the night I cried, the promises he broke, the loneliness he left me in. So I looked at him and said, you left a woman who would have done anything for you, and you chose a woman you thought would do everything for you. Now you have learned. Love isn't about what you can take. It is about what you can give. He knelt down, tears in his eyes, saying he wanted his family back. But I was no longer that same woman, the one who begged to be chosen. I smiled softly and said, you already paid a bride price, remember? Keep your wife. I've already found my peace. He broke down that day, and as he walked away, I realized that forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it simply means letting go without hate. Say, life always comes full circle, and sometimes the pain you gave returned to sit beside you. He once left me broken, but years later, it was him begging for the peace he destroyed. It's been 4 years now, 4 long years since I last saw Tunde. I built my life from ashes. My business grew little by little, coin by coin, until it became something I could be proud of. People started calling me Madam Amara. And for the first time, I didn't feel small anymore. My children were growing too, smart, beautiful, full of light. Every time I looked at them, I knew that even in my pain, I had done something right. Then one morning, I had a knock. It was Chika, my old neighbor. She said softly, Amara, have you heard? Tunde's wife left him. I froze, not because I cared, but because a small part of me already knew this day would come. Life has a strange way of balancing things. They say his wife packed her things and left with all his property, and she couldn't also bear the bitter and angry and empty man he has become. Because he lost his job, his friends turned their backs, and for the first time he tasted the same silence he once left me in. Weeks later, I saw him standing by the roadside, his shirt wrinkled, his eyes hollow, his pride gone. He smiled weakly and said, Amara, you look good. You made it. I nodded. Yes, I did. We all did. Me and the children. He looked at the keys, his keys from a distance. They didn't run to him. They just stood there, unsure who he was anymore. He said, can I talk to them? And I said, they will talk to you when they are ready. Then he whispered, I wish I could start over. I looked at him, the same man who once made me feel like nothing, and I said, we can't always start over, Tunde. Some mistakes are meant to teach, not to fix. You wanted a word and you lost your home. Now, I have found my peace and it does not include yours. He bowed his head and for the first time, he didn't argue, he didn't plead. He just walked away, slower, smaller, like a man carrying the weight of his own choice. Sometimes healing isn't about revenge. It is about finally letting go of what broke you and watching it no longer have power over you. That day, I didn't feel victorious. I just felt free. I didn't hate him. I didn't even wish him pain because it became a lesson I needed to learn who I truly am. Karma is patient, and when it arrives, it doesn't always destroy. Sometimes it just reminds. Years passed after Tunde walked away. I learned to build my life from pain. I became stronger, independent. I found joy in small things, laughter with my children, quiet morning, the satisfaction of work well done. But somewhere deep down, I still believed love was possible. Not the kind that demands, control, or betrays, but the kind that lifts you, that stands beside you, that chooses you every day. Then I met Chidera. He wasn't flashy. He did not have a big car or promises that sounded like fairy tales, but he had honesty in his eyes, respect in his voice, and laughter that felt like sunlight on a rainy day. We met at a charity event. I was volunteering with my children. He was helping build homes for underprivileged families. He smiled at me across the crowd and said, you have a light that doesn't dim, even in the dark. I laughed softly, thinking, who is this man? But from that moment, something shifted. Chidera never rushed me. He never demanded more than I could give. He waited. He listened. He noticed the small things, the way I tongued my hair behind my ear, the way I paused before speaking, the way I cared for my children. And slowly, I found myself letting love in again. For the first time in years, I did not have to hide my heart. I didn't have to beg for loyalty. I didn't have to fear tomorrow. Chidera didn't just love me. He loved the scars, the history, the strength that came from surviving Tunde. He saw a woman who had been broken and he fell in love with her resilience. We laughed, we dreamed, we built something new, a life full of joy, honesty, and trust. And for the first time, I realized he wasn't just the love of my life, he was the right man at the right time. Sometimes the love you lose teaches you how to recognize the love you deserve. Sometimes heartbreak isn't the end, it is the beginning. And sometimes true love waits not for the perfect moment, but for the person who is ready to receive it. Tell me, have you ever loved so hard that you had to lose yourself before you could find the love you truly deserve? If life gave you the chance to face the one who hurt you, would you forgive them or would you simply thank them for the lesson? Thank you for watching African Tales by Imami. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more African tales that inspire, teach, and remind us that love, real love, still lives among us. Bye for now.